Hello everyone, and welcome to a review of Transformers Beast Machines Mega Class Tankor. Yes, Mega Class, whatever the hell that means, and yes, Tankor, which is the most cheesy toy name ever. He was released in 1999, and as you can see, he is an evil Viacon, not just a Viacon, an evil one. He is medium difficulty to transform, I guess. Yeah, the front just has Transformers, Beast Machines, and creepy-ass Cheetor. Here is a weirdly low-resolution picture of Tankor. Here's a little bio on Beast Machines, and yes, I paid $20 for this, which I feel like is not that bad. And then there's that thing again saying he's medium difficulty. Here's a bio on Tankor and a less low-res picture. And also, look at this boy. He is beefy. Look at his stats, man. Nothing below a 5. What a legend. And it is also confirming Tankor's alternate mode is a tank. Just if you were confused. And then there's his animation model, which looks like the deluxe version. Kind of weird. And at the top here, it's basically just the front of the box rearranged. Not really exciting. On the bottom here, we have a little collector's sheet, which is pretty cool. Man, that black racking is really creepy to me. Yeah. Also, Viacons, Buzzsaw, Optimus Primal, the Cheetor that looks like he's doing weird things to himself, and then the Jetfire, which I almost bought. But he was missing one tiny missile, so I was like, I don't know if I can handle it. So it opens pretty easily, and they do care, guys. They do care. You just kind of flip those down, and then pull out the cardboard. I don't know why I'm describing it like it's a transformation. And there's a box inside. Who would have guessed? And then on the left here, we have Tankor in his little blue display box. And yeah, I kept all the packaging material. When I got it, it was actually new in box, and it was a nightmare to freaking open. It has so many of these little bendy boys. It's just bendy. It was horrible. It took me almost 10 minutes. If I said 10 minutes, that would kind of be hyperbole. And I don't want to lie to you folks. Anyway, we're going to take a look at his little instruction manual, which is pretty okay. It describes his action features very well, but his transformation is a little vague. Definitely enough to get the point across. Here's the other side, just showing off you can show off his faction symbol. And we can just slide him out. You don't have to basically untangle him. And then we gotta do a size comparison with your boy Tahu. Let me just find the how. I kind of dropped it. Alright. As you can see, he goes up to about Tahu's thigh. The orange ball joint. But, yeah, there we go. That's enough of you, Tahu. Alright. Tankor, who transforms into a tank, which is very interesting. He's actually a pretty cool tank. From the top, he looks like quite a heavily armored little tank. And it looks pretty speedy as well. But it's kind of a facade because he's actually very hollow on the inside. So I think they make pretty good use of some parts of him. He's not that kind of token Transformers H-Tank. Which drives me crazy. So yeah, he's pretty cool. He has some nice paint. He has these silver wheels in his treads, which are pretty interesting. They're almost chrome-ish, but they're not really. And he has this gunmetal gray and red with a kind of boring silver. And then at the front here, he has this interesting transparent red, which I'll show off a little bit later. And it's Beast Machines, which is just gimmicks the toy line, so why don't we jump right in. So So as you can see, I pointed out that red little knob on the back, and this will turn his head, which is actually pretty cool. And I'll show you why in a minute. You can kind of see he has a little red eye that goes back and forth. It kind of reminds me of a Cylon, or those guys from Gundam that I'm going to pretend I know the name of. He also has this weird action feature where you can pull this panel down. I didn't know about this until today, and it basically just lets light in. It's just light piping. So now you can see his eye a lot better. And that's pretty cool, in my opinion. A lot of people don't like that, but I think it's pretty, like, intimidating. And not a lot of figures have eye articulation. It's also connected to the turret, so if he looks right, his whole body, or the whole turret is going to turn right. If he looks left, the whole turret's going to turn left. Pretty cool. And again, it kind of reminds me of the robot from Black Hole and all those one-eye robots. He also has this large cannon, because he's a tank and he should. And it is on a ratchet, and it can go pretty far. And you can hit this little black button that's kind of hard to see, and it will shoot. And it's actually a really nice looking missile, because the stock is transparent, but the tip is painted red, so it really looks like a meteor or flame. I believe it's supposed to be a flamethrower. I've also seen it called a laser bolt. So pick your poison, I guess. Okay, I guess we're going to close up the head panel. I totally forgot about the head panel. Also, you can flip this open and it reveals his spark crystal, and it shows he's a Viacon. Okay, that's nice. I don't know why they always did the hidden factions symbols in Beast Wars and Machines. He also has this weird in-between mode where you flip these little black things forward, and then you flip these panels up. They're on like little double hinges, so you just kind of shuffle them up. You can see, just kind of twist them forward and then lift them up. And then this will reveal hidden saws. It's kind of hard to see, but they are geared up with these rubber wheels on the bottom. So when you roll them around, they spin, which is actually pretty cool. And you won't be able to cut anything, but they're not too dull. They're a little pokey. And as we all know, there's nothing wrong with the little pokey. But one thing I don't like about this mode is these front bits are what's holding the front half of the tank together. So when you do this, it's super wobbly, which is kind of unfortunate. Okay, so we're done here, so why don't we move on to the next mode. Things are already kind of set up front here. So you're going to detach these things that are totally not legs. You can see they kind of just plug in, just kind of randomly. It's a little weird. It's just like a box that's hard to see, and it just kind of snaps in there. And all you want to do is just straighten the legs out. You just want to twist them down, swivel, and then stretch them out. And I find this very weird. You see how there's like a perfectly sized gap here that would fit a foot? There's like, I don't know, it really seems like the foot should be on a hinge, but it's molded to this panel up here. I don't know, I feel like at one point they were trying to make this hinged, and then they're like, nah. Because in my opinion, it's kind of distracting in the robot, in the vehicle mode. Okay, so now what you're going to want to do is split this, and they're just on hinges. So you just want to kind of straighten them out, move them down a little bit, and then they're just going to kind of snap into place to where the legs were connected, which is a pretty nice reuse of a peg, which they don't really do often. And you're going to want to swivel this down, and then rotate the waist, and then you're going to want to snap it in place, and then we're basically done. The rest is just kind of however you want to set it up. Let me fix the camera while he T-poses on ya. And then the arms are kind of weird. You just want to twist them around so the screw holes are on the back, and then you just kind of want to straighten that out like that. And then you want to rinse and repeat on the other side. Let me just double check if I did it completely right. Okay, I did. You just kind of want to straighten it out. And you want to rotate this, flip it down, and then flip that around, and there you go. Basically done. Now then, we're going to move on to the point of the most breakage, the head, which is also the knob that controlled the turret. And the head and the turret are connected. So you're going to want to flip this down, and then it's going to peg into the turret here, which is kind of weird. And then you're going to want to flip the cannon down, and there you go. He is done. And I really like the look of him. He has like this red and black and gunmetal. He just looks very intimidating. He does kind of have loose thighs though, especially because he's a thick boyo. He does have some interesting gold on his chest, which to me kind of looks like metals or something. I don't know the lore behind that. I don't think there is any. And his head is super cool and unique in Transformers. Like, there's only one other guy that really looks like him. It's a little hard to see, but he does actually have teeth, and very similar to Crumple Zone, he has a working jaw, which is pretty cool, so he can talk and yum yum yum. And since we're talking about jaw articulation, I guess that's a good transition into just regular articulation. So, his legs can go up, like way over 90, and then like exactly 90 degrees in the front. And then his thighs can splay a little bit at like a 60 degree angle, which is kind of strange. His knees are pretty good. He can get like a 95 degree angle on the knee there. And the knees can't really bend the wrong way at all, but I don't know why you would want to do that. There's also a knee swivel, but it's not very useful. His arms are kind of weird. His shoulder can rotate, and then it's on a weird hinge. It's just a Rebeltech joint, basically. And then this panel kind of gets in the way of moving it up, so he can only really do a T-pose. He can't go much further unless you rearrange him. His elbow can bend at like a 90 degree angle. He can still spin the saws, and he actually has hand articulation as well. This guy just is packed full of articulation. So he kind of has these creepy, meaty claws. He's just a monster with big, meaty claws. And that's pretty intimidating. Like, you would definitely not want to mess with this man. Especially when he flexes and saw blades start up. Now then, we're going to talk about the head. And the head is weird. And is actually broken on a lot of the figures, because he has some weird gearing that can break if you're being stupid. Well, that sounded country. I don't know why I sound country today. Now, you actually can't rotate his head just manually. I guess you can, but it's weird, and it, like, makes his backpack turn, and it's just awkward. And remember that red knob on top of the turret that I kind of neglected to talk about? Well, that's what we're going to be using to get head articulation. So you're going to turn this back and forth, and it's actually, you can see there's some light piping there, and it's going to turn his eye. Get it in frame. You can see his eye will move, and his head will move with it. And it's a little sensitive and a little jerky. So if you want him to look to the right, he's gonna turn to the right really fast. If you want him to look to the left, he's gonna look to the left really fast. But it's still really cool and almost unique to this figure. This eye articulation and jaw articulation makes him one of the most, like, expressive Transformers ever, which is kind of ironic because It's supposed to be like an evil machine. Ooh, organic. Man, Beast Machines was stupid. And the missile still works in this mode, obviously. It's kind of weak, but it looks cool, and that's all that matters. Which is not true. Because it's one of the reviews, I gotta do a size comparison with Tahu. I'm just failing my job if I don't. So here he is next to Tahu. You can see he's almost as tall if his thighs want to cooperate with me. Man, the more I do these reviews, the more I realize I really like the way Bionicle looks. And Transformers, for that matter. I definitely think Tankor is a pretty cool figure, with a really, intimidating color scheme, and some pretty good posability. You can get him into some really cool poses, like the super awkward walking pose. But it's kind of a, are you approaching me pose. So, that makes it cool. I kind of like to put him in Tankor Pulverize poses, just because I think it's cool. With his hands up and his claws open and his mouth all the way open. I don't know. That's just me. Now then, let's talk about price. I don't really know how much it was. So apparently, so he's a Mega Class figure, which is kind of an extinct size class, which is in between Voyager and Deluxe, which is actually a nice size class. I kind of like it. But, I know in 2007, Mega Class figures were $15. But this was in 1999, and there's not a lot of information on it, because he would have accounting for inflation, and the economy was a little bit different in the 90s, but accounting for inflation, he would have been $23, which, I don't know, kind of seems like a lot to me anyway. I mean, I guess I'd pay $20 for him, but he was in the box in vintage, so there's kind of a weird argument there. I would say he's basically worth that price. He's definitely worth $15. I could see someone buying this for $15, yeah. I'm not sure if basically $24 is quite worth it. I'm just saying if it was 1999. But again, the economy was a little bit different. So, I would say he's worth it. You definitely have to be careful that he is not broken, because a lot of people have broken this very weird and kind of complex gearing system. But he's also super cheap. You can find him for $5, especially if the gears are slightly broken. He'll be just dirt cheap, at least in my experience. And oh boy, Beast Machines is weird, that's all I'm saying. And it's definitely a transformation revelation, as the dorky commercials would have you believe. But that's all I have to say about Tankor, so peace out.